Three, two, one, and we're live. Right, it's Project Natter, and joining me on today's show is Peter Rhodes from Chelsea in London, who has a very interesting story to tell. He says that he was swindled out of his lottery ticket by a local shopkeeper. So, Peter, thanks for coming on the show. Do you want to just tell us a bit about what's happened?
Hi, David. Thanks for having me on the show. About 8-9 months ago, the summer of last year, of 2019, I had a lottery ticket on me. I never did a lottery every week or every month, every day, whatever. I only ever did the big, massive, high rollovers, or I only did the Euro Millions. So you're talking, hopefully, excessive amounts of winnings. I found a lottery ticket that was about 3 or 4 weeks old because I was working busy and forgot it was in my wallet. I took it to a local store called The Village Stores in Fulham Road in Chelsea, bang opposite Chelsea football ground. I took the ticket into him, I handed it to him, and in front of me, he put it into the National Lottery machine. No sounds rang or any alarms, sort of made a noise, nothing. But the ticket went in and it was in there a few seconds and it came back out. And he took the ticket out and looked at me with a big look of horror and shock. And I said to him as a joke, smiling, "Oh, have I won then?" I said, "How much have I won?" And I put my hand out to take the ticket back off of him, to which he pushed me, literally pushed me, and drew the ticket back into his shoulder, so it wasn't at arm's length, and stepped back. And my initial reaction was, what's he doing? What's going on? So then he stepped down about 2 paces to his right, and I see him put the ticket down under the counter. So I leaned over the counter to see what he was doing. And to my horror, this shopkeeper had approximately 80 to 90 lottery tickets all lined up in a row underneath the counter. And when I looked, to my horror again, my lottery ticket had gone from his hand. He had put this ticket in amongst the row of tickets behind the counter. And I'm standing there dumbfounded. I was quite shocked. And I thought, what's going on here? What is he doing? And then I watched him go 4 steps to his left, back towards the counter, just past his till. And he had a little shelf with about a dozen tickets on. And I saw him clearly with nothing in his hands. So my lottery ticket had gone. I watched him take another ticket from this shelf under the counter where there was about a dozen tickets, put it in the machine. Then he called me over and said, "Oh, you've won £11.40 or £11.60, whatever it was." And I said, "What?" I said, "That's not my ticket. That is not the ticket I just gave you." And he looked at me and laughed. So I said, "I'm calling the police." And being polite, he laughed and he said, "Call the effing police, because they won't come out anyway." And I didn't want to hit him or become violent, because that's not the way forward. And obviously it would have turned around and then there would have been assault charges and I'd have been the one arrested. So I did call the police. They refused to come out, as they do now, as a matter of course. I registered the crime and registered it and got what they call a crime reference number. So I've reported my ticket as a registered crime. I then went home and I didn't know what to do.
So from that, you said you contacted the National Lottery themselves over what had happened.
I did. So, I wrote into the National Lottery, but you don't know who to write to in particular. So I just wrote into their head office, which I believe is in Tollpits Lane up in Watford in England, and got no reply. And this went on for a couple of months. Then one of my family, actually my daughter, looked on the internet and found out who, through Companies House, are the registered directors and CEOs of the National Lottery Camelot UK's Limited, I believe they call themselves. And then I was able to actually send letters in of complaint to a specific person. They don't reply. They obviously believe in either their mail is being intercepted by a lower level PA and they're not aware of this, or they're just arrogant. Forgive me. As they do not reply to you. They do not send you any letters of concern that this has happened. They do not send you any letters of empathy, assuring you that they're going to look into it, as it's a very, very serious matter. And they didn't want to know. All they ever did was they delegated and passed the letters down to a lower level operative. In the beginning was a lady called Hannah Plant. Now, this Hannah Plant contacted me from operations, and at this stage I thought that they were taking it seriously, because she asked me to go to she asked me how we could trace this ticket. And thankfully I remembered that I'd purchased my ticket with my bank debit card. Thank God I didn't pay cash, because there'd have been no trace. But because I'd purchased my ticket with my bank debit card, there was what was called, she said it was an electronic footprint, like a carbon footprint, that they could actually prove through my transactions that I'd purchased that ticket. And she explained to me, if I went to the bank, and I asked my manager very politely to print off all my transactions covering a period, because I couldn't remember the exact weekend I bought the ticket, the period of when I bought tickets, because the bank can give you the actual dates and the specific exact times that your bank card touches that terminal to purchase that ticket. And from those exact times and dates, she said it would be easy for them to see what lottery ticket was printed and generated from their system, so they would know exactly what ticket I had with all the numbers on. And I thought, wow, this is marvelous. Someone's taking it serious. And she said to me, oh, this is how we put notifications out in the press, like someone's won a millionaire in Cambridge and hasn't come forward. Is it you? Have you not checked your lottery ticket? I'm sure you've seen that. Well, obviously I didn't know that this was possible, but when she made me aware of all this, of course I went straight to the bank. Didn't happen that day or overnight. The bank's fraud investigation unit had to get involved, because they wanted to know why I wanted these specific times and dates. So it took some time. A few weeks later, I got the list she required. Very happy with myself. I kept a copy and sent it in to her. Unfortunately, from that, it got handed over to a very, very rude and abrupt gentleman by the name of Mr. S. Long, as he signs his letters. I would surmise from his demeanour and the way he talks to people that he's an ex-police officer, because he's very rude, very arrogant, very nasty, very abrupt. He actually phoned me up because I put all my details on the letter, email, phone number, and he said to me, oh, Mr. Rhodes? He goes, yes. He goes, Mr. Long here, National Lottery. We checked that store. No high claim was made from that store. So it didn't exist. It didn't happen. Nothing we can do about it. That's the end of the matter. And I said, well, no, it's not the end of the matter. I never said that the claim was made from the shop. I said that your authorised, licensed lottery retailer stole my lottery ticket. And he stole it in front of my eyes, which I physically saw him do. I didn't say he made the claim from his store, because would he be that stupid? He could have passed it on to his brother, his mother, his father, his sister, his cousins, his aunties, anybody to make the claim. But regardless, I said my ticket was stolen. And this ticket has subsequently been produced to you, where someone's made the fraudulent claim. You've paid out my millions to this person, and they've gone, because the guy that actually owned the shop has now gone, which to me is a bit of a coincidence. Maybe he sold it, or maybe he's just passed it on to a family member. But he's not at the shop anymore. He's not there anymore. No, he's gone off the scene. And I emailed the police with the full story. And at first, the police weren't very interested, because they're not, are they? And then it got passed on to the NFIB. I didn't know what that was. Apparently, it's the National Fraud Investigation Bureau, who look at corporate crime and internet crime and things of that nature. Well, I was hoping again it was going in the right direction until this S. Long got involved. And then because of the conversation we had, he was, and I thought he was going to take it further. A couple of months went past, nothing. So I wrote back into this Mr. S. Long, asking him what's going on. Why is this not being taken seriously? If I've reported this as a crime, it's not menial that it's a theft of a lottery ticket. Knowing you only do big, massive rollovers and the Euro millions, the ticket wasn't worth 20 quid. You know, it was worth, I believe, a very high volume and a substantial amount of money. The National Lottery have done nothing but blank me, totally blank me, until this S. Long came along. And all he's done is try and push me away, make me go away. It never happened. It did. We can't find it. Well, you haven't looked. I think he got upset when I told him what Hannah Plant had made me aware of from operations, i.e. printing off the times, date, specific times it can be found. And he slammed the phone down. And then he phoned me up again a few days later, very abrupt again, telling me nothing can be found. He's looked onto it. There's no trace. I'm sorry. He's lying. Now I'm starting to feel there's a corrupt National Lottery out there somewhere. Something is corrupt. And through the behaviour of this Mr. S. Long, I'm starting to smell collusion. I'm not saying that he personally is involved in the theft, and I'm not implying he's personally involved in the collusion, but somebody is. Because if I'd walked into a bank and stuck a sawn-off shotgun in someone's face and stole 10 million quid and walked out, the police would be looking for me. The police would be hunting me. I'd be all over the national newspapers, on the news. There would be an uproar finding this robber. But apparently, lottery fraud and lottery theft is the way forward. This is why I have now got the hump with the National Lottery, with their incompetence, their ignorance, and their failure to take this seriously. That is why I connected to your channel and found you, and gratefully you've just, you know, happy that you're speaking to me today. I've got this to say about the National Lottery, and this is a better one. The National Lottery scam, paying you nothing, is our magic number. Because the National Lottery is a fraud. The National Lottery is a scam. The mere fact that this shopkeeper had so many lottery tickets lined up under his counter, I don't think I'm the first person he's ever done this to. Maybe not to my volume anyway. You know, you've only got to be distracted for a few moments. People are very sort of, pardon the phrase, phone zombies, looking at their phones a lot more than what's going on around them and their surroundings. How many lottery tickets had he already swapped before that? How many lottery tickets had he stolen before that? How many people of this area and this borough have been had their winnings stolen by an authorised, licensed lottery outlet dealer who's nothing but a two-bit thief? Now, the fact that the National Lottery do not want to take this seriously, find my ticket as Hannah Plant from the operations team said they could. Why are they not doing that? There's only two reasons I would come to. Is one, they don't want the bad press. One, they don't want getting out that this is happening. Or two, that they're involved. Is there a scam that the shopkeeper, if he steals the ticket, gets a percentage? Are the National Lottery saying if someone comes in, like Mr. Rhodes did, and hands over a ticket and it's worth, and I'm only surmising, 10 million quid, switch it, swap it, and steal it, and give him a tenner, because that's what we are doing. Yeah, even the Euro Millions, because all I ever did was the National Lottery, the Euro Millions, and the Lotto.
So basically, they've said that there's no trace of the ticket.
They are alleging there was no trace of the ticket when there is. But what happened was...
Hold on a second. If there's no trace of the ticket, you received a winnings from the shop anyway. So the guy in the shop had said, "Oh, you've only won this much." So if that was the truth, then it would have been a trace to that ticket, wouldn't there?
I said that. I said to them...
Clearly haven't.
Well, I said to them that when he put the ticket into that National Lottery machine, which is their system, their computer, when he looked at me with that big look of horror and shock, and he snatched my ticket back from, not from me, but stepped back and pulled it away from me, then it disappeared under the counter. He acted like that because that National Lottery machine, the computer, told him it was a winner and of how much money. That's why there was a look of shock on his face, and that's why he stole the ticket. Now, I have said to the National Lottery, surely that alert coming up on your computer telling him that that was a big winner must be on your system, because it's all linked, isn't it? So you know that I went into that store. You know I gave him a very, very high volume lottery ticket. And also they must be able to trace the winning ticket that he alleged I had, which was of the £11 fall to £11.60. But Mr. S. Long, no disrespect, who I now consider to be corrupt due to his behaviour and ignorance towards me and incompetence, I believe Mr. S. Long is corrupt, because he is definitely part of this collusion. Because why would you not look into this investigation properly and fully, find my lottery ticket, pay me my legal and lawful winnings? When you spend your money buying a lottery ticket in good faith, you expect the National Lottery, Camelot UK's Limited, to be an honest and upstanding company, and give you what you've won. I'm not blaming them, because it was the shopkeeper that stole it, not them. But now I'm thinking, why did he steal it? That's why it's going down this road of collusion or corruption. But I'm just starting to think there's something not right here, because Mr. S. Long doesn't want to look into anything. When I got my list from the bank, there was 890 transactions. I sat down for 2 hours and reduced it, because luckily for me, I only bought my lottery ticket from 2 stores. One was the Tesco in Chelsea, and one was the Sainsbury's store in Walton upon Thames. So there wasn't a big web of it. It was 2 stores. And I found all the purchases from them 2 stores, and I reduced 890 transactions down to 56. 56. And they're not even prepared to look at it. You would think they would look at it, find it, pay me. I would help them in the prosecution of this bent, corrupt, fraudulent thief shopkeeper, who is one of their authorised licensed lottery retail outlets. He's standing behind their machine, surrounded by their flags, their logos, their emblems, and they're stealing your lottery money. And when you go to them and ask for help, you're told to go away. When they first contacted me, they threw me 4 A4 sizes that apparently there's an expiry date of 3 months if you don't make a claim. Oh, you're making this claim out of time. Goodbye. Well, no, I'm not making a claim out of time. I'm making you aware my ticket was stolen. I didn't forget to claim it. I didn't lose my ticket. It was stolen by one of your lottery outlets. Surely that puts a whole new view on it and opens a bigger window. They're not.
So I was looking into this just before, and I've seen there's been quite a few cases throughout the United Kingdom over the years of shopkeepers lifting people's tickets, telling the customers that they haven't won anything when they have, and trying to fob them off. There's been a few people.
Yeah, you're right, David. I actually looked onto the internet with the help of my daughter, and I was sick to the stomach when I found there was hundreds. This isn't a one-off. This isn't an isolated incident. This is why this is a National Lotteries Camelot UK's Limited scam. It's a national lottery scam. I found one case where an old couple up north had their lottery tickets stolen in very, very similar circumstances to mine. They contacted the National Lottery. I don't know if they came into contact with this awful man called Mr. S. Long, but they were pushed away and told to go away. The National Lottery don't want to know. But fortunately for the old couple, somehow they got into contact with a reporter. I can't think of her first name, but I know a surname was Harley. It was a Miss Harley from the Daily Telegraph. And this couple was called Maureen and Fred Holt from up north. And this Miss Harley, an actual reporter for the Daily Telegraph, took up their case because I don't know how she became aware of it, but she did. And she found out that the old lady had actually paid for her lottery ticket with her Tesco club card, which I had to frown and think, what do they mean? And when I read the story, because she bought her lottery ticket with her Tesco club card, using her Tesco Club card points, there was an electronic footprint, i.e. a carbon footprint. And luckily for this lady, because she was old school, she had registered her Tesco Club card to her. So it was registered to her and her address. So through this Miss Harley at the Daily Telegraph fought for over a year. Would you believe that? Over a year, pursuing the National Lottery to give this old lady her winnings that she had won playing the National Lottery in good faith. And for a year, the National Lottery were refusing to pay up, refusing to honour the ticket. And in the end, they did. And there was a picture on Google, if you do Google it, Maureen and Fred Holt, lottery ticket stolen. And you see the couple a year later, quite jubilant, with their arms around each other, bless them, holding up their lottery ticket that they were awarded, their £1 million winnings that was stolen from them by a licensed, authorised lottery outlet retailer. So no, it's not a one-off, David.
Yes, it's very interesting. I mean, thanks for sharing your story, because yeah, like I said, it seems to be an ongoing occurrence. And the ones you see in the newspapers and the ones you see on the internet are the ones you know about.
Yes.
There must be so many out there.
How many out there have walked away because of the abrupt and very rude and cantankerous nature of this Mr. S. Long? The way he spoke to me was disgusting. And a lot of people must have walked away or believed that they had looked into it, found nothing, and it wasn't what they thought it to be. But it is. You are right. If you have lost a lottery ticket and you believe it was stolen from you by a shopkeeper, do not take no for an answer, because paying you nothing is the National Lottery's favourite number. It's a National Lottery scam, and this needs to go global, because I believe the National Lottery is global. It's in every country. This isn't a one-off. This isn't individuals. For the National Lottery's ignorance and not wanting to look into this, it's fraud, and it is definitely corruption. Very quickly, the gentleman that stole my ticket, that's theft. The person that presented it fraudulently to claim the winnings, that's fraud and deception. When the money is actually paid into your bank account, congratulations from the National Lottery, here's your 10 million. That's fraud to procure personal gain. Now, I have been told that these are very serious offences. They're not interested. This Mr. S. Long, the reason I surmise he's ex-police is because when I said I was getting the police involved, he said, oh, well, I'll just sit here and wait for them to get involved then. Well, the old Powers Act and the dodgy handshake isn't going to make this go away. I don't care if he is ex-police and he can do a dodgy handshake with the old Powers Act and a smile. This isn't going away. And I'm not going to stop pursuing these people. I've been in touch with the press. I've been in touch with the Daily Telegraph. They're getting this reporter that done it for Mr. and Mrs. Holt to get in touch with me. I've spoken to a reporter at the Sun, and I intend holding demonstrations with huge banners of these posters I've just held up for you outside their headquarters. Shame on you, National Lottery. Shame on you. You are thieves. You are fraudulent. There is corruption. And from where I'm sitting, scum. You should believe in your players, because if it wasn't for your players buying your tickets and some people spending ample amounts of money each week hoping to live that big dream, and you are stealing it from us. Absolutely disgraceful, David.
So what was the story with the police? Once you contacted the police, you got your crime reference number. You were speaking then about the National Lottery side of things, but what about the actual police themselves? Did you hear anything back from them?
They're not interested. They are not interested. They're saying, oh, how can we trace a lottery ticket? I've emailed them back with the full story, i.e. with the carbon, electronic footprint, etc. And I'm waiting to hear back from them. This is why I'm angry, David, not because I've lost my money, but because if you rob the bank, or with today's technology, if you rob that kind of money, what do they call it, internet crime, over, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about, over the internet. If someone had robbed that money, they'd come after you. But because they've stole it from you, they don't care. They don't care. And I'm not the only one. I really did feel sick when I saw how many stories are on the Google, the internet, of how many people have had their tickets stolen. If you want my opinion, don't play the National Lottery no more, because their big dreams of making you billionaires, millionaires, this will change your life. The only thing that changes your life is when they steal it. It makes you sick to the stomach. There are other more, lotteries out there, including there's one out there that they even come knocking on your door and hand you the check, So the National Lottery should bow its head in shame. But now I'm starting to wonder how are all these directors and CEOs living in their big ivory towers, living in their big mansions, driving their Maseratis and their Ferraris. Do you know why? Because they're stealing it from you. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Well, thanks for coming on the show and that. I really appreciate it. And best of luck with. I hope you get the outcome that you're looking for. Hopefully, they sort things out. Keep in touch. And if you're watching this, if you know of any similar stories, please comment below and let us know if you know of, or if it's ever happened to you. Comment below. And hopefully, you're saying the press are involved now as well. So hopefully,
well, at a lower level. But if there are any global reporters or journalists, not just UK, global, that have seen this and might be interested in taking this up, I'd be grateful. I just need someone to pick up this story, help me pursue it, because you will be seeing me on the newspaper while I'm standing outside their head offices with a big crowd of people with big giant banners up saying National Lottery scam. Then watch how quick the police turn up. Then watch how quick the police become involved. I'm sure you'll be hearing from me, and I'm sure that people will be hopefully looking at me in the newspaper and reading about me in a positive way, because I'm not old. I'm not a pensioner. I'm not going to be threatened by Mr. S. Long to go away. I'm never going to give up on this. I want my winnings. There you go.
Well, thanks again. Like I said, I hope it all gets sorted out soon. Best of luck.
Thank you, David.
Don't forget to press the like and subscribe button and share this video, get the video out so this story can get out there. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Take care, David. Bye-bye.